All right, guys, we are here in Vegas today, and boy, did we have an interesting plane ride.
Yeah.
All right, so now on to our airplane story. We're already both running off of like 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
We get on our airplane, an hour into it goes by pretty well. Then all of a sudden, we just hear like a commotion right in front of us.
So what had happened was there's two little kids in front of us. One is like 6 or 7, the other's like 4 or 5. I want to say probably closer to 4 and 6. Two little kids traveling by themselves. And the little boy, he's the older one, his arm got I think it got stuck between the armrest and the wall. So he starts crying, he's like, help, help, because it's scary. His arm is stuck. And the flight attendant comes over and helps him out, took a couple minutes, but she was like, that was really scary, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. And I think that's what kind of started it, because she was like trying to really cheer up the little boy, and the little girl, I think she got jealous.
I think she got jealous too. And so the little girl, like soon after that, we stop an hour and a half left in our flight. And she starts hitting on the brother, like legit, like bump, like hitting on him. He's like, stop. And the flight attendant comes around, gets her to stop. And then this little girl, you can tell she's a spoiled brat. Because she says, because she's like, all right, well, I'll stop if you give me a surprise or whatever.
If you give me something.
Yeah, if you give me something. And she's like, no.
That's not how that works.
So then the flight attendant leaves. And then she's still bothering the brother. And then something happened to where the brother either took a toy or she lost the toy somewhere.
I think she lost the toy, but she was claiming that the brother took the toy.
Yeah, but the brother didn't have the toy.
So she's not screaming, she just kind of starts yelling at this point.
Yeah.
So the flight attendant comes back over, and it's like, guys, like, what's going on? Did you take the toy? Well, let's help you try to find the toy. And the little girl at this point starts screaming.
Yeah. And then she still beats on the brother, like beating on him.
Like, she's like...
And then the brother says, the little kid starts asking for like assistance. And then the flight attendant decides to like, okay, well, let me put the brother like in a different aisle, like a few rows behind us, so that like the sister won't bother him anymore. And then the little girl is still screaming on about like a little dog, cat toy thing.
She's like, I want my kitty and doggy, I want my kitty and doggy. Like, she's ear-piercingly screaming this.
And she's like, starts getting a commotion where she's like screaming and like,
she's like
moving around,
throwing a full-on tantrum. But she starts like full-on throwing a tantrum. She kind of slides down in her seat and is kicking the seat in front of her. Feel bad for those people because she was kicking it hard.
And so they take her to like the outside front area, and the sweet little kid next to us, shout out to Xavier, he's like going into 8th grade. He's like this history whiz, apparently.
The smarty pants.
Yeah, he was telling us his like little life story of like, yeah, I went to state championship for our history club, and I was like, yo, that's sick.
That's awesome. That's impressive.
That's very impressive. So he's a sweet kid. Very nice. He was like well mature, like super mature and like sweet for his age.
Yeah.
Well mannered.
Very grateful to be sat next to him and not the little kids.
Yeah. So me and him chatted it up and had a good time. He was funny. Because by the end of it, he was like, "Oh, we survived the flight of 2023."
That was so funny.
Yeah. So shout out to Xavier. Hope you're watching. But yeah. So continuing on, we actually have footage of how bad it got. How bad the screaming got, and we'll play it right here.
But yeah, like as you can see, she's screaming and throwing such a fit. And honestly, shout out to that flight attendant. She was so patient with her. Never once raised her voice. Like, she really tried. And I think at one point she was like, well, I'm going to call your grandma, because I think the kids are flying to see the grandma.
Yeah, so the kids were alone, to preface this. Kids were alone. This 4 and 6-year-old 4 or 5-year-old group of kids were alone.
Yeah, and like we overheard like the older brother, the 6-year-old, say that he was in charge of his younger sister.
Which is kind of crazy. Like, they are young.
They were little.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of like, to try to get the little girl to just stop throwing the tantrum. Like, she was like, I'm going to call your grandma. And that's what really set her off.
That set her off.
She just, the whole rest of the flight was screaming, don't call my grandma! Don't tell on me! And it's like, she's like, okay, well, stop screaming, stop crying, stop doing this. And she's just like, stop, don't tell me. Like, nothing worked.
It was bad. And then, because they took it to the front, and they were blocking the restroom, and someone was in the restroom, because she was like banging on the restroom door, and then after they brought her back to the seats, someone comes out of the restroom like...
She's just like...
It was so funny.
I was like, dude, I think she was trapped in there. But this just went on for the entirety of the flight.
Blood-curdling screaming. It was bad.
Another flight attendant finally came over. She was an older lady, and she was a lot more stern. She was like, stop screaming, sit down, buckle your seatbelt. Like, she went mom mode. And she needed to. Like, props to that lady, too. Like,
yeah, it was bad. Overall, that was a bad experience, but it couldn't be helped because the situation and everything. But
yeah. But it was really funny. I think my favorite part was when we landed. Like, we were officially landed. Flight attendant got on the intercom, and she was like, well, I would say wakey, wakey, we've landed, but I think all of you are awake right now. We survived the flight, and people actually started cheering and clapping. We're just like, hallelujah, get us off this flight.
All right. So that was story time.
I have one more thing to add. I'm really sorry. I have to add it. Cherry on top. There's like an older couple sitting beside us, and he was like, they were saying nobody get up yet because they're going to try to get that situation off the plane. Well, he was like, I'm ready to get off. So he like stands up and he starts to get his stuff. He opens like
and it's right above Haley.
Yeah, he opens like that cabin thing where you can put your carry-on. And the way he was pulling it, I was like, oh my god, this is going to fall on me. So I'm like I'm doing this, and lo and behold, it drops and falls on me.
What doesn't help is because everyone behind him and next to him was like, oh, just wait, or let me get that for you.
Yeah, they were like, can we help you? Can we please help you?
And he's like, no, I got it.
Stubborn old man.
And then he drops it.
Right on me. And his wife was like, oh, are you okay? I'm so sorry. I was like,
She looked mortified.
I know. I felt so bad because I know she felt bad. I was like, no, I'm fine. But that was probably the most interesting flight we have ever been on.
Yep.